example, which I find fascinating, is working memory. So the ability of holding multiple units of information at the same time is a scarce resource, and it's extremely important to integrate anything new with anything old that we already knew. So to simplify, let's imagine we have the average person has 5 to 7 units of information we can use to process. If I'm out of the 5 or 6, I'm allocating 1 or 2 to some random factor that is getting me stressed. Oh, I have to talk to my boss in a week. What will the performance look like? Well, I'm already getting out of my 5 or 6. 1 is already not being useful in this conversation. Second, if I'm remembering now some very small detail that is not very relevant to the conversation. Oh, tonight I have to go to this event. And then if I add even more stress factors, so what happens, one big obstacle for productivity, especially in the virtual collaboration culture, but also in general, is that very scarce and very important working memory capacity typically don't get used in its full capacity, because we use half of it for other things that don't help us solve the problem we have now, and then later solve that. So once you know that, you become more aware of, well, again, I have to avoid distractions. I have to avoid stress that doesn't help me in this moment. I will handle that factor or that situation next week. Now I have to do this. You will also learn how to outsource some of your working memory to external systems. I mean, the obvious one is a calendar system or a notebook, so you know how to expand that to the maximum level. But again, those two things, stress and working memory, how they work on their own in interaction and impact decision making and productivity and resilience in general are super, super important. And I don't think they are really well understood, either top down or individually.